Now let's turn to page 17 in the student books to begin the lesson. Our content focus for this selection is crime and punishment. What do you think you will read about in this passage? What do you know about forensics? What TV shows or books involve forensics? You have learned that there are different types of text or reading selections. Holes belongs to a category called literature. Say literature. Literature consists of stories, poems, dramas, and creatively written prose. Holes is fiction or not real. The text we will read today, The Science of Catching Criminals, is nonfiction or not fiction. It is informational. Say informational. That means it provides information or facts. Is a nonfiction work made up or based on real life? So today's text contain real people or made up characters? Which one? I want you to glance through the text. Who is the author of the text? This text is the type of text you would read in a textbook. The information is factual, but there isn't an author's name attributed to it. It likely means that someone was paid to write this text for a publishing company, but isn't necessarily considered an author. The author's purpose is the reason he or she wrote the text. Authors write for different purposes. They write to entertain, to persuade, or to inform or teach. Knowing an author's purpose can help a reader better understand a text. Holes was written to entertain us. The Science of Catching Criminals was written to inform or to teach. Was The Science of Catching Criminals written to inform or entertain? Will the author teach you something or entertain you? I want you to write your answer on the page in your student book. Have you read any other text in which the author's purpose was to teach? What was the title of the last nonfiction text you read? Many words in the English language come from other languages. The origin of the word forensic comes from the Latin word forensis, which means belonging to debate or public discussion. The modern definition of forensic means belonging to or used in courts or to public discussion or debate. Forensic science is science used in public, in a court, or in the justice system. Any science used for the purposes of law is a forensic science. Now let's look at our big idea questions. Is punishment always just? How does science influence crime and punishment? Let's discuss these two questions. Now that we've discussed these questions, jot down an answer. We'll come back to these questions after we finish reading The Science of Catching Criminals. You can add to your answers as you gain information and perspective. Now let's look at the preview checklist on page 17. Informational text preview checklist. Title: what clue does it provide about the passage? Pictures and captions. What additional information is added here? Headings. What topics will this text include? Margin information. What vocabulary is important to understand this text? Maps, charts, and graphs. Are additional visuals present that will help me understand? What is the title? What clue does the title provide about the passage? Let's look to see what additional information the pictures provide. What picture do you see behind the title? What do you know about fingerprints? What is pictured on the bottom of the page? What is pictured on the next page? Let's read the headings together. Ready? Put your pencil pointer on the first heading. Read it with me. At the crime scene. Next heading? Back at the lab. Last heading? The power of forensic science. Let's take a moment and compare the text features of a nonfiction text like The Science of Catching Criminals with the format of a fiction text like Holes. What do you notice?